Hey guys, Jester here. Today's episode on this wonderful Halloween day is going to be the I6 Ravenloft and the Curse of Strahd Revamped. So, let's get started. So the Curse of Strahd Revamped has this wonderful DM screen. Has all these pictures on the front. And a whole bunch of charts and information for the DM on the backside, as all DM screens should have. Move Mr. Strahd over here to the side a bit. Okay, so as I mentioned in my previous episode of the unboxing of the Curse of Strahd Revamped, that I believed that these two modules were one and the same, just 5th edition redoing it. And as it turns out, I was in fact correct. There are some differences, mainly on the side of the newer version, which would be, understandable. Basically, Curse of Strahd Revamped took the original and, like I said, just pretty much did the original itself almost word for word. And then, but what Curse of Strahd Revamped did was expand enormously on the surrounding area of Barovia. It gives you a lot of other options to explore and investigate and have fights and all that good stuff. In my opinion, it fleshes out the adventure greatly. Now, no good horror story would be complete without a fortune teller. And as all fortune tellers know, it's all in the cards. The cards know. And these two modules are no different. However, what is different is the way they go about doing the cards. So, we're going to start with the original. So, basically, the story is, it can be, depending on, no matter how many times you run it, it can be a different type of adventure each time, based on the cards. And what I mean by that is you do a fortune telling reading prior to the game. Just you as the dungeon master yourself, so you get an idea of where certain things are going to be located. And then if the characters run into the fortune teller in the adventure and have a reading for themselves, then you have to adjust and replace everything, which is not a big deal. But the two adventures, the two versions, I should say, go about it in a much different way. So, basically, in the original I6 Ravenloft, you have a standard deck of playing cards, and you pull out all the 2s, 4s, 6s, 8s, 9s, and jokers, so that you are left with 32 cards. And you just completely don't use those cards. You set them aside. 32 cards is your fortune telling deck. And basically, what they've done here is you've only got 8 possible results out of these 32 cards. The other 24 cards are just duplicates, and what they did is um, if depending on what suit you pull, you might get a bonus or a penalty to your armor class or your hit rolls. So that's the only benefit of having 32 cards, other than it just looks like an actual deck of cards should look, as opposed to just 8 cards sitting there. That'd be kind of cheesy. So I guess they had to figure out, how are we going to do this by having a whole deck and we only got eight outcomes. So that's what they did. They made 32 cards, a 32 card deck. No matter if you pull whatever whatever suit, you're going to get the same result in the story. The only difference is if you pull a 5 of clubs as opposed to a 5 of diamonds, that's going to determine, again, like I said, the hit point bonus or penalty and your armor class bonus or penalty. Pretty straightforward. The almost the entire module was set in the castle. So every outcome that you have is somewhere in this module, or in the castle, somewhere in the castle. Curse of Strahd Revamped, what they did, they actually created an entire deck of cards. So you no longer have the suits. You have pictures like a true tarot deck would have. Of course, this is called the Taraka deck. But you have the different pictures on it, and you do have numbers on the majority of the cards. So you basically have a 4-suit deck here, and then you've got what they call a high deck here, which doesn't have numbers, but this is used to have a different outcome. The way you do this is you take the main deck, you shuffle the cards, you put 3 cards out in a triangle pattern like that, and then you take the next card, place it there, and the last card and place it in the center, and then you turn over one at a time in this order these 3 cards. What these cards do is, now instead of having everything placed in the castle, it is placed. Then you get number 4, and then last number 5. Instead of it all being in the castle, now it's placed throughout Barovia. So now, instead of the player character's whole adventure being inside the castle, it gives them a wider spectrum of things to do. They can encounter much more things, much more horror as well. Now, I had somebody basically comment that the Curse of Strahd Revamped basically eliminated all of the gothic and horror elements out of I6 Ravenloft. I would actually disagree with that to a degree. If you think that you need to be in the castle the whole time to experience gothic and horror, then that statement would be correct. Perhaps moving out around the lands and stuff makes it more of a regular D&D adventure as opposed to a gothic horror themed thing where you're just stuck in the one place and everything in that place is just creepy and you're just wandering around. Then I guess that would be the difference. But beyond that, they're the same module. 5e kept all of the story plot involved here from the original. They didn't really change that at all. It's really, like I said, it's all in the cards. The way they've designed the cards takes you to a much more open sandbox, I guess, than the compact version of just the castle. And that's pretty much the only difference, main difference. You still run into all of the creatures in the original. They've added more, obviously, because you're going to be exploring a much broader area in the adventure. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Now, AD&D did come out with later I-10, Ravenloft 2, House on Griffin Hill, which was a sequel to I-6, in so much that it's a future depiction of it. Kind of like if you ever watched the old TV series Dark Shadows, which I absolutely love. It went back and forth between past and present, and you had a whole bunch of people in the future that looked and were related to the people in the past, and then the vampire Barnabas was in both areas, both time periods, and so you can run I-6 by itself and I-10 by itself, or you can actually combine the two to make it sort of a Dark Shadows type thing, where the characters are going back and forth in between time, and so that can make it cool. Now, I actually got I-10 first when I was purchasing the Ravenloft stuff, and it is a very in-depth, and I mean, you for a dungeon master, you've got to study, do your homework. You've got to know this module inside and out, or you're just going to flub it all up. It's just like, it's a lot of work. I mean, and then to combine it with the first one is, I mean, I can't even imagine doing that. If you are the DM that can do that, hats off to you. I want to play in your adventure, dude, because I don't think I could pull that off. It would take me probably months and months to get it all in my head of how it needs to be run. That's a lot of prepping, and even for either one of these, you got to be prepared to know based on the cards where everything's going, and it can be done, obviously, and the players will have a wonderful time whether you go through either one of these modules. If you like the old school feel to it, then I would suggest just stick with the old school module, because again, it is stuck just in the castle. It's very limited in scope in that regards. If you like the newer version of D&D 5e, obviously go with the 5e version, because it does give you all of the neat things that 5e brings to the game, if you like that kind of stuff. However, if you want to do the old school but have more information regarding things around it so that your players have the freedom to explore more, then I would suggest getting both. You can get I-6 Ravenloft on eBay at a relatively cheap price if you have patience, or you can go to DriveThruRPG and get the reprint of it for fairly cheap. And then, the Curse of Strahd Revamped has all this wonderful stuff in it. It's got the DM screen, it's got the Taraka deck, got the the book, which is 200 and something pages long. 224 pages of information on the land. I think this one had somewhere around 50 pages, I think, something like that. Maybe not even that much. Hang on, this has got, minus the maps, it is not even 50, it's 32 pages. So just a comparison, 32 pages of that. You've got 79 pages equal to this. The other, from 79 to 224, is all of the extra material of the lands around it and stuff. So, I mean, like I said, this is, even if you don't like 5th edition, I would suggest getting this box set just for the coolness of it, if not anything else. I mean, you got the deck, you got the coffin. I mean, it don't get no better for a horror adventure than a boxed set in a coffin. Okay, I love that. I love that. But yeah, you've got that, and then once you get down in here, you've got this wonderful map. It's got the map of Barovia. I don't know if I got that upside down or not. Yeah, I do. The map of Barovia on this side, and then it's got the castle on this side. And it's just a wonderful map. I love artwork. You know, you guys, I love artwork. Great artwork in this. Wasn't hardly any artwork in this, other than the front cover, which was wonderfully done. I love the front cover of this. Which, get a little bit closer there. There you go. Front cover was awesome, but beyond that, I mean, other than the maps, and the maps are the exact same maps in here. But other than the maps, you've got a couple of pictures in here. The portrait was cool. I like the portrait. Okay. But other than the portrait and the Strahd behind the organ, kind of giving you a I can't think of the opera, but Phantom of the Opera, that was it. Other than giving you that kind of a feel, you got the one photo here. I mean, that's it. The artwork that's done in here is great, but it's just only like 4 pictures, and that's it. Here you got the whole. You got the tarot cards, tells you how to do everything with the tarot cards, and you got all of the creatures that you're going to find in there, and it's just their stat blocks and all the photos. So, where are the photos? Yeah, here we go. They're not photos, actually, just pictures, artwork. Yeah, but anyway, you got letters. So you get a whole lot of stuff that, even if you, like I said, if you don't like 5th edition, that's great. I don't really care for it that much myself. I'm the old school guy. I like 1st and 2nd edition. But if I was to run Ravenloft, I would convert it back to 2nd edition. I would have both of these books. Really, you don't really need. Actually, you really don't need this book. I would just convert 5th edition to 2nd edition. I'd have this book on standby just for the stats. But definitely the cards. I mean, the DM screen. I mean, Strahd in his coffin, the coffin itself. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's about it, guys. Not a whole lot of difference between the two, other than things that I mentioned with the additions of all the extra things that you can do around Barovia. Beyond that, it's the same cool module. So please remember to hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave any comments in the comment section. I love to get comments, and please share with all your friends. So the more you share, the more viewers I get, and that just is great. So this wraps it up, guys, and happy Halloween. I hope you get lots of candy tonight, and until next time, and as always, see you soon. Goodie!